Well, hi guys, it's our Monday story, and boy, do I have a story to tell you today. As you know, if you follow me and watch my teachings here on Facebook or YouTube, I was in Texas last week. It was my kid Courtney. It was her birthday, and I drove into Texas and got there Sunday evening around 6 p.m., and I left Friday morning. And I had a great trip. I was just having really an awesome a whole week of awesome, by the way. But the trip was going well. I'm listening to an audio book. I like to spend good time listening to teachings or listening to a book, and that way I can grow as I go, right? So anyway, I'm about 3 hours, a little bit more than 3 hours away from home. I'm in Arkansas, and I'm on Interstate 30. And I've got my cruise control set, and I'm just tracking with traffic, just driving along. And in front of me, I see a car swerves, okay? And so by the time I see what they swerved around, it had spun more in the center of where my vehicle would be, okay? And so I swerved to the left to try to go around it as well, but I was not able to do that because it was moving pretty fast as well as I was going about 70 miles an hour. There was a black piece of steel, solid steel, about 18 inches long and about 8 to 10 inches round. It looked like a part off of a motor or something. And when I hit that, it hit my car so hard. I should say it hit me. When it hit me, it actually lifted the front of my car up off the ground, and it not only dented my tire rim, it also cracked that steel rim. So anyway, immediately when the car hit the ground, it had no air in it, so I had to get over off the road fairly quickly. And there's a white van behind me, and I see they're getting over right behind me as well. And he told me when he got out of the vehicle, he's like, oh my goodness, when you hit it, it was like somebody punted a football up into the air, and it was headed straight into the center of our windshield. And he said, I slammed on the brakes, which put enough distance between us that it hit the front grille and bumper part of his vehicle. Thankfully, as far as I know, no one was hurt behind us. Someone finally stopped on the road, I guess, and moved that piece of black steel out of the way. But here's my story, okay? The two men that was in the white van, they helped me get my car tire out and jack the car up. But he felt like I needed some type of special tool that I didn't have. Well, and he said, all I can tell you is just call, AAA or a wrecker or something and get some help. So they left me on the side of the road. Well, lo and behold, a pickup truck passes, and he just barely goes by me, and then he backs up, and he sticks his head out, and he said, hey, I just wanted to stop and see, is there anything that I can do to help you? And I said, absolutely, I think you can. And he said, well, I'd be happy to. And he gets out of his vehicle, and he's got this beautiful, beautiful brown bulldog in his vehicle, and you guys already know I love animals. And anyway, this man asked me what he could do, and I said, well, I've got the tire ready to come off. I'm not strong enough to break the pressure that was put on the lug nuts. And I said, I've jumped up and down on it, all 121 pounds of me, and I can't break the seal loose. So he did. He came and he took the tire off for me. And it did take him. He said, yes, they are on very tight. Wow. So, but he got it off. And as he went to put on what we call a little donut, right? He picks it up. He said, ma'am, you're not going anywhere on this tire. It is flat. And he showed me that he could push down on it. And I said, well, do you think I could just ride it a mile up the road till I can get to a service station maybe or whatever? He said, no, I don't. If I can push down on it, it has absolutely no air in it. He said, tell you what I'll do. I'll go up to the next town and get the tire aired up. Then I will come back and put it on for you. And I was like, okay, now if that's more than you want to do for me, and I understand you may be in a hurry, I can just call a tow truck. He said, no, there's no need in doing that. So he goes to town, he airs it up, circles back around. Now we're on the interstate, so he's got to go up, get it aired up, come back down to the next exit and come around and come back to me. So it took him a few minutes to get that done. And so when he got through putting the tire on, I asked him, I said, would it offend you if I gave you some money? I said, I know you didn't stop to help me, so I would pay you. I know that. I said, but I have taken up well over an hour of your time, if not 2 hours. I think it's probably close to an hour and a half by now. And he said, well, that's okay. I was off of work and headed home, and I saw you as I passed. And I remembered that I had forgot my wallet, and I circled back and went and got my wallet. And when I came back through, you were still sitting here. And he said, and I noticed that you were a female and you were by yourself. And I could not stop and ask you if there was something I could do to help you. And so anyway, I got a couple $100 out of my wallet, right? And I handed him 100. And he said, I really don't want to take your money. I said, really, it's not going to hurt me to give you this money. I can afford to give you some money. So don't feel bad about that. I wouldn't give you money if I couldn't afford to, okay? And he said, okay. And I gave him 100. And I said, that's for stopping. And then I gave him another 100. And I said, and that's for actually going to the next town, airing the tire up, and really, truly coming back, that you didn't leave me stranded without even a spare. You could have done that too. And he said, oh, no, ma'am, I would never do that. And so I gave him a couple $100. And anyway, we just talked casually for a second, and I noticed his hand was trembling. And I took him by his hand, and he had a pair of sunglasses on, and he turned his head, and he said, ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't look at you right now. And I said, well, are you okay? And he said, I don't want you to see me crying. And he kind of leaned his hand up and wiped his tears on his shoulder there. And he said, you have no idea, you giving me this money, what this means to me. He said, I absolutely have no money, zero money. I took off of work to take my ex-wife to her grandson's funeral, who was 2 years old. He had a seizure and died, and he said the right thing for me to do, regardless of what's going on with us right now, it was my place to take her to that funeral. And the company I work for mandated that I take off for 2 full weeks. So I took off to take her to the funeral, and after the funeral, I had to stay at home for 2 weeks. Today, I started back on my job Monday. Today's Friday, and he said I didn't get a check or anything, and I won't get a check for at least another week. And he said, I literally have zero money. And he's just shaking. Guys, he's breaking down and crying. And I said, well, if you don't mind, could you stay here for me just for a minute, and please don't leave. And I walked back up to my car where my purse was, and guys, I got my wallet, and I pulled out everything that I had in my wallet, and I showed it to him, and I pulled all the larger bills. I had another 100 and some 20s in it, and I handed all of it to him, and I said, I'm going to let you have everything I have in my wallet. And he said, oh, no, I can't let you do that. I said, oh, yes, you must let me do this because I know it's the right thing to do. And I had a 10, a 5, and 4 ones in my hand. I said, I'm going to stick this back in my wallet, but you can have everything else. And look, he started shaking all over then and crying. And he's like, I have no way of explaining to you. I don't understand what's going on. He said, I thought I came to help you today because I would never leave a woman on the side of the road without stopping to help her. But I really believe that God actually had you help me today instead. And I don't really know how to explain what's going on right now, but you have no idea what you've just done for me. And I said, well, you know what? It's okay. I'm so happy that you're the one that stopped to help me, and that I could bless you and help you get through what's going on with you and your family right now. And you know, guys, let me, when I got off the phone with him, when I got through with him, he got in his truck, I got on the phone with my husband, and I called him, and I said, you will not believe what just and I'd already talked to him a couple of times about the car and how to get the little lug nut covers off and all that. So I called him to tell him I was back on the road, and I said, this is just mind-boggling what has just happened today. And I told my husband the story, and before I could tell him, I gave him everything I had in my wallet. He said, I hope you gave him everything you had in your wallet. And I said, well, baby, I gave him everything but a 10, a 5, and 4 ones, and then later I found another one. So I got $20 on me, babe. And he's like, you did good, Faye. Thank you. I'm glad you did. And but anyway, here's what really struck me about this, because I told my husband, I said, did you know that if it took me hitting that piece of metal to slow me down, and so I would sit on the side of the road so that a good Samaritan could stop and help me, so that I could be the good Samaritan to him and help him, I would do it again. And yes, my car has got to be put in the shop. It's got some damage done to it. It cracked and broke the front bumper and some undercarriage damage. The tire is completely ruined, as well as the tire rim. And there could be some other things that's wrong with my car. But I did make it home on my little donut tire, and that's all that matters to me. You know, no one got hurt, and I had one of the most beautiful chance meetings of a lifetime, that I was able to help a hurting young man with so much integrity get through a financial crisis. And before we left, talking to one another, I asked him if I could pray with him. I also gave him my name and phone number, and I asked him if he minded giving me his. And he said, oh, no, ma'am, I don't mind. And listen, he's still shaking so bad you can't hardly read his writing. He apologized to me for his handwriting. But get this, guys. He knew I was about 3 hours out from Memphis, right? And with 3 hours later, that young man, he's not really young. He's probably about my brother's age. He sent me a text and said, Miss Faye, I wanted to thank you again for our chance meeting. You ended up blessing me so, so much. Thank you. And I just want to make sure that you made it home. And I texted him back and told him that I had made it home to Memphis. And I would text him when I got home in my driveway to let him know that I had arrived safely. One thing I did tell him, I said, I know, you know that I'm thankful that you helped me, but I'll tell you 2 other people that's going to be even more thankful than me, and that's my husband and my brother. You have been a good man. And you're the kind of man that other men hope that a woman in their lives would run into in a time of need. And you, my friend, are one good person to stop your busy day and everything that you're doing to help me. So, guys, listen, I know there's so many more things I could tell you that he and I talked about, and little nuggets. But I'm going to tell you again, if I needed to have yet another breakdown on the road and my car be damaged and have to put it in the shop to fix it, for me to make the impact on that young man's life that God wanted me to make, and I was at the right place at the right time for the right person, and he was also, is just an amazing miracle, isn't it? Well, listen, guys, I'm going to hop off here. I love you, and I will see you here tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye.